Right. So we're going to start off really at the beginning with just simple, how do you grip the knife? So the way you grip the knife is the same way you grip a saber, which is also the same way you grip a walking stick and an epee, where all you do is you take your thumb. I might change size just so it's a little easier to see. So you take your thumb, you run it down the back of the handle, you take your pointy finger, you use that to push to pinch the handle between your thumb and the middle pad of your pointy finger. Then you take the front pad and use that to push the handle of the knife into the palm of your hand. So you've now created stability on each side of the knife. So it's now kind of locked in with just with two fingers and the palm of your hand. You then take your, I'm going to call the rude finger, and you do the same thing as you did with your pointy finger, just to give the knife some extra stability. And now you've basically gripped the knife as strongly as you need to. You've got all the stability you're going to get from just these three fingers. Your bottom two fingers just sit very, very loosely on the knife. They don't actually provide any structural support normally. In fact, you want them to be really, you want them to be very, very relaxed, because one of the things that will give you a bit of impetus when you strike is that you pinch with these two bottom fingers. And if you've been doing some of my other workshops or you're familiar with any of my other kind of lessons, this is basically the same way you hold most weapons. And you'll start to see with knife that there's a lot of commonality with all of the other weapons. And that's kind of a product of the 19th century as well, where you've got people like Hutton who are like, oh, the knife is kind of like a really small saber with a few kind of properties of like a foil as well. Or you've got people like Andre who are saying things like, oh yeah, so the knife guard is basically your boxing guard, except your backhand is a bit more forward, and and you need to hold a knife in your hand rather than just hold a fist. So you will see a lot of overlap between this and other sort of 19th century weapons. All right. So I'm just going to put my earpiece back in, and before we move on, does anyone have any questions? That's looking like a no. I'm just going to pause recording.